got one today.
All right, here we go. This is time and place for a city commission meeting in Huron, South Dakota, Monday, June 21st, 2021. Roll call, please.
Smith.
Here.
Weinreich.
Here.
Bragg.
Here.
Commissioner Robish is absent. Mayor Harrington.
Here. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need an agenda approval. Do anybody have any changes to the agenda tonight?
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Commissioner Smith, motion. Need a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Weinrich. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinreich.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. The City Commission adjourns at this time as the Board of Adjustment for the following public hearing. And I'm going to call on our City Planner, Barry, to explain what we got tonight as
Okay.
far as the variance.
Okay, this request was filed by Brad Chapman at the project address of 523 12th Street Southeast. He is requesting to construct a 276 square foot house addition on the east side of his house, and that will be 229 square feet over code that states the aggregate square footage of all structures on the lot, including any accessory buildings, shall not exceed 45% of the lot area. And he will also be 0 feet from the property line where 5% of the lot area, 0 feet from the property line where it requires a 7-foot side yard setback in an area zoned R2. So, the hearing examiner has looked at this. At the hearing examiner meeting, the applicant was present and we discussed this. The building inspector feels that code should be maintained and they should have to meet current zoning code. I looked at this from a planning perspective. We just in November of last year started the process, and through then in March gave first and second reading for, it would have been November of 19, and then in March of 2020 we had first and second reading of the ordinance to increase from 30% to 45% the amount of coverage that you could have on ground coverage by buildings on a lot. This would be if approved, this would be the third variance that would be granted to this address to be oversized over the allowed requirements. Through the course of the meeting last week, the applicant has offered to move back from the right-of-way line for the building part, the construction. They would be willing to move back up to 5 feet, they said. They have said they would like to have a bay window in there, which would again put them out closer to 3 feet, but I think we could work through the building permit process and work with the applicant if the commission so chooses to approve that, to keep them at the 5 feet, which would keep them basically off the alley right of way. And it would ensure that the equipment and snow removal equipment and garbage trucks could go in through that alley pretty much uninhibited. So as far as my comments for the variance request, I have recommended against it. I've looked at this variance and with kind of a critical eye because of the fact that we just changed this ordinance a little while ago. To me, even on the variance application itself, it says that the applicant, the criteria for review for the variance, that for an area variance, compliance with strict application of this ordinance governing area, setbacks, frontage, side yards, height, bulk, and density will unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for its permitted use, and which is, in this case, is for residential housing. I do not believe that what they are proposing, while I'm sure it is a want in their mind, I do not believe that it is a need that unreasonably prevents their use of the property. So I am recommending based on that, and then along with the fact that I feel that this is just too much on this small of a lot. That's why I'm recommending denial. Having said that, the hearing examiner, as you know from your board packets tonight, that the hearing examiner also recommended to deny the variance. So with that, I guess I turn back over to you, Mayor. Our recommendation is staff, and along with the hearing examiner, is to deny the request.
Okay. I see the applicant is here. Would you like to come up and speak to this issue, sir?
Yes, thank you very much.
You bet.
Thank you all for being here and for listening to my reasoning for wanting this variance to the recently made ordinance. I put this packet together, so I don't, pictures and stuff, so you guys can help maybe see. The plans have changed from what I originally turned into the planning people and or the inspecting people, and I think that you're gonna like what you see for the city, and also I guess it doesn't matter what it'll help the city. Okay, so we'll be replacing the 10 foot 10 by 13 foot 7 addition, which is roughly 147 square feet, with the new structure with 9 foot 4 by 26.6, which is roughly 247 square feet, which adds about 100 square feet to the existing percentage of my ground covered. That's a 10 by 10 area. We will be set back 5 feet from the property line. Looking at the picture on the cover, what we're looking at doing is everything that's left of the tree over to the end of the house there. If you just minimize that a little bit and bring it over here and set it down, that's what we're looking at doing. Just making it so it's nice, a uniform house. Shorten it up a little bit, get it out of the alley, because right now it is sticking out in the alley, and it is gotta be a pain in the tushy for the plow drivers and the garbage truck drivers. And just today I saw a Northwest Energy guy down there trimming trees. That can't be, that's a big truck, I get it. And I'm willing to let's back that off. Yeah, I lost where I was, and I just need to slow down and apologize. So we got through the picture on the cover, and yeah, the one roof. So in the structure now, there's outdated windows, the roof line looks horrible, and the siding does not match the existing house. Electricity, I got it covered, 110, it'll be on its own circuit, the addition will, and it'll have a electric heat, 220, which I've got room in my breaker box for that. Please, if you will, look at it, photo number 1 with me. This is the last addition that we put on the house, this last window. From the green tree to the corner, that's the addition that we put on, okay? So we'll be using the same siding used for the garage on the west side of the bedroom addition. That's the one I'm looking at there. We will save the slate siding that we take off of the east side of the house and reusing it on the front of the house as we did with the bedroom addition. This gives us the same siding all the way across the house in the front as seen from the street. It'll all be the slate siding on the house, all look uniform like it hasn't been added onto, like it does today. The old screen and storm windows that I have to swap out every spring and every fall will be replaced with new double hung windows, the same as in the bedroom, just like you see in the photo there. There'll be a different size, but it's gonna be the same look, it's the same design. The bay window, we decided, if we get this present, we'll take it, we'll suck up the bay window and we nix that. Okay, the foundation will be faced with veneer brick, veneer aged brick and grounded like I did on the foundation of the bedroom. That's gonna be all the way around the house by the time I get done with it, the veneer brick, just to have a nice pretty look to it on the foundation. There will be a 6-inch apron outside of the addition just for water runoff. Just as you see there in the bedroom addition, the whiter concrete is a 6-inch apron for water runoff. It slopes away from the house. The roof line will match the rest of the house from east to west. If you look at picture number 2, this is looking at it, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's looking at it from the east. And you got a peak on the left, you got a peak in the middle, you got a flat roof. And I want to bring that all together with one peak in the middle. We'll have one roof line from the east to the west, one solid straight shot. Nightmare to keep straight shingles, but we'll do it. But that'll just make the house look better, I think. The flat roof will go away. That's all gonna, there is a computer printout of what the east side will look like in your packets. Self-explanatory, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself or behind. We're gonna open up that choke point at the end of the alley, so if you look at picture number 3, you see the blue line on the existing addition. That's a masking tape that I put on there. From there over towards the alley will be gone, including that blue line will be gone. The existing, it's kind of, you can see the string lines that I have down on the ground. I did string it out right after that meeting that we had. I didn't even go back to work before I got them in the ground. I'm not
I
lying.
appreciate that.
And so we got that all taken care of. And that's how much that's where the end of the new structure will be. That's gonna make it easier. We talked about the graders and the plows and the heavy utility vehicle. And the blind corner, that is a very blind corner. As you get through, pictures 3, 4, you just backed up a ways, you can still kind of see how much we're gonna gain for visibility going down that next alleyway, all the way across the street. And even picture number 5 gives you even a better vantage point. You're gonna be able to see way much more. The plows are gonna have a dream coming through there, comparatively speaking. Okay, and but now if you will with me, go to picture number 6. If I'm not rushing you too much, I'll slow down. I was told to stay slowed down. I'm getting low. Okay, if we go to picture number 6, that's the front of the house. The blue line, same thing. Everything towards the alley, including that blue line, will be gone. The big green tree, the bushes that I got along in there, those will all be gone. Those right now are holding the dirt, that are holding those concrete slabs that are gonna be done away with this new addition. So it's all gonna be nice landscaped instead of looking, if you've seen it before, there's pieces of curbing out there about like this long with 1/2-inch galvanized pipe holding them back. I didn't put them there, Alan did. But that's what's holding some of that structure from going into the alley. And that's sticking halfway out into the alley, according to the string line. So picture 6 and picture 7, you kind of use picture 6 as a reference point, and picture 7, you'll see how much more you'll be able to see down that alley as well. The rock structures there at the end of the alley, you see the green grass, that'll all be accessible for the plows and the trucks. And then I just snuck in a last picture there. I don't have it numbered. It's picture number 8, unnumbered. That's just kind of a shot that gives you the blind spot as you're coming out of that alleyway. If you're a car or a garbage truck or anything big, you got a blind spot there. You got a kid coming down that sidewalk. You won't have that blind spot no more. I think I've covered everything I need to cover. Any questions?
Any questions from the commissioners?
I have a few if I may.
Yeah.
Brad. Thank you, Mayor. Brad, have you been the owner with all when these additions were put on?
Yes,
Have you
sir.
been the owner the whole
Yes,
whole
sir.
period?
Yes, sir, my dad and I did it.
The thing I think that we're struggling with is even the way the structure sits, it's, because of variance approvals, it exceeds what we've just implemented recently as far as 45%
Yes.
coverage. With doing what you're doing and reconfiguring this, I like the fact that you're trying to clean that up so you're not right up against the alley like that. About how much of that, well, first off, if I may ask, the piece that is up against the alley, what is that used for? Is that like a bedroom or a
It's
facility?
been used for a
living area?
bedroom, it's been used for storage, it's
Okay.
not really used for much of anything now. That's kind of why we want to make that area functional. When I first moved into that place back in the back there, one of those slabs that was on the north side, that big slab was fenced in with an old rotted redwood fence.
Okay,
So that was, I mean, it was just more enclosed and now it's, to me, not usable.
yeah,
To get that leveled off there, shrink it up and make it be able to go around my house. I'll be able to see out the east end. I'll be able to get sunshine in my house, which I can't right now.
so even neutral, if you didn't do anything, you're still above
Yes, sir.
the allotment. And then, so we're going to be cutting a portion of that off to free up the access through the alley. About how much of that, how many square feet is that?
Motion, don't
Sure.
I think if you said it was 100 square feet,
You said the net gain after the change, according to your document, was
Yeah,
100
I will gain 100 square feet by making this change.
I need to get a motion before we go too much farther here. I should have gotten a motion before Brian started, so,
I'll make a motion to approve the variance for further discussion.
okay. That's a motion from Commissioner Warren, so I have a second on that motion?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Blake. Now we can pursue. I'm sorry.
No.
I wasn't sleeping, I'm gonna say that.
So I guess I'll just, I appreciate what you're trying to do, I just can't get over the fact of still being over what, even though you did it properly for the first two variances, we're coming back in with a third, pushing it over yet what we've expanded the square
I'm not
footage.
trying to abuse power of any kind or sort of way.
No, and I'm not
just-
insinuating.
I'm honestly just trying to make a portion of my home that I can't really use right now livable, which, and make it look prettier from the
Yeah,
street.
no, and I appreciate that.
So what I originally wanted to do was just lift that thing up so that the roof line was matched, and I was gonna be happy with that. You can't do it on what's underneath it.
Yeah, yeah. Is there, well, probably not. I guess I'm not that savvy when it comes to construction. I'm just, if there was a way that we could keep neutral square footage and reconfigure it, you've gotten close. I mean, you're 110 square feet over where you're at now.
That would back me up about 4 more feet.
But you gain north-south all the way, yeah. 'Cause, you know,
I
we're not-
appreciate, and that's one of my comments in here, that I appreciate that you guys just did, do the variance, change to where you go from 35 to, or 30 to 45%. And I'm probably still a little over that. But I also understand that the reason for the variance system is if it's good for both parties, that's what I was getting out of,
Yeah,
they, I originally thought I'd move them back 1.5 foot, and then it was 3 foot, and then, you know what, it's 5 feet now. That's a lot of ground, I think, to give up. I wanted a lot more, and I'm cutting way back because of your variance and because of reality.
I think the other thing to be noted is, there's two things involved here. One is the coverage area, and then the other part is the 7-foot side yard setback. You're proposing 5. There is, the setback is 7. So there's really two things in this variance that are being requested. I guess, and I'll just kind of lay it out where I'm at. I'm willing to work with you. I guess I'm willing to work with you, but I can't work with it in this light. If you can refigure the interior or somehow to maybe pick up that 7 foot, so we're not going against two code issues. I realize the structure is there now. You know, I don't know if you can redesign that in your plan, so that you have a 7-foot setback, and then pick up some of that to the north.
I would be willing to look at it and see. I've been standing in the doorway of the existing structure, seeing how far it's gonna be. The 5 foot from the yard, from the property line is gonna put X many feet off of that structure, and looked in the doorway, and it shortened it up.
Yeah, because I drove through there just before the meeting, and that lot's full. And it is not just your structure, you know, but with that being on the corner, I appreciate what you're trying to do is open that corner access point off the alley.
It would.
So, but I guess I can't vote in favor of it under these conditions, Brad, and I'm just letting you know that.
I understand. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, or your vote. I don't know how to answer that. I'm just trying to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you can go back to the drawing board, so to speak, and I don't know what 7 feet looks like, but then you could gain that square footage on the north like you're trying to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that would take another 25 feet off of the total square footage, which would still put you over the 45%, but not by as much. And then the extra 2 feet would get you in compliance with the setback, so. You know, I think that's probably something that we could get everybody on board with if you wanna take a look at that. Then that would get you could have the house look right, have the same roof line, you know, get better use of that space. So it's another 2 feet back is what Commissioner Smith is saying. That I think that's something that we probably could get.
And then, in my writings to the commission, I did offer some alternatives. I said, if approved, I would recommend the following conditions. That the applicant survey the lot, which he has done, and which has been a great help. Because I was really concerned your house is actually in the right of way. And that the owner would stake out, you know, the outline of the addition, which that can easily be done. And if you were to go to the 7 feet, you know, the applicant, number 3, the applicant may not build closer than 7 feet from the property line. Then you would not need the hold harmless agreement that I was recommending in item number 4. And then item number 5, since he would be out of the right of way again, would not be needed. So I, as a planner, could use, that would be a reasonable alternative to me. because I was mostly concerned about that right away. Like Commissioner Smith has said, the previous variance allowed you to go over that threshold of 30%. Unfortunately, when we raised it to 45, you were still over. And through no fault of your own, that's just what you built and you were allowed to do, so.
And, you know, I think that it is worth mentioning that, you know, the end result, as you've drawn it up here, is better than what's there now. I mean, you know, so I think we have to factor that into it. Obviously, you know, I respect, I agree with everything Commissioner Smith said, but it is worth noting that, you know, when done, if you made these improvements, it would be better for the alley, it would be more attractive, you know, I think all along it would be a net gain, both, like, as you said, for yourself and for the city. And again, if you were able to work with that 7 feet, that would be a benefit to you, because then you would not have to put that old harmless, you know, that's another document you would not have to sign to worry about snowplows and all that kind of thing.
Be willing to sign that document today.
Can I inject a little?
Wish you would.
Can I get a drink?
We're talking about the exterior, and we could shrink that down, but we also, in the process of this, we want to increase, his living room is very small, and we wanted to get, we got 9'9", but by the time you take an inside wall and an outside wall out there, you got 9 feet, and we need an extra bedroom. We were gonna figure out how to encompass that into there. But we want the inside to be able to benefit a little bit from this too.
Any other discussion on this? Yes.
Didn't, any comments from citizens?
No, we had no comments from any of the neighbors. We didn't have any negative reactions to it or anything like that, so.
If, in terms of the visibility, you know, did you look at that, the placement of that tree, you know, even if the house structure is shorter, that tree where it's at is, it's still gonna be.
It's still gonna be a blockage,
That tree's
but it would be.
The tree, are
Tree's
you
going
saying
away.
it could, or you are planning for that
It
tree to
will
go?
go, all that green is gonna go away.
Okay, so that's another net gain to this, you know,
There's no question it would clearly open it up. There's no question about that. What he's saying would make a big difference in that alley. No question about that.
So what we got in front of us tonight, will probably, I'd entertain a vote on what we have in front of us tonight, and if that's so, the full discussion, we done with the discussion on this?
Just a question maybe for Barry, is there a way we can approve it with these conditions, or it needs to be resubmitted?
In my mind, I think you could potentially approve it with those conditions noted, like the 7-foot
Mhm.
setback. And the, I had down that lot needed to be surveyed, and he's done that, so it doesn't need to do that. He would have to, prior to his building permit, come in and stake out the lot so that Chris and I can go out and physically inspect where that is gonna be. And if you allowed that, in number 3, I said the applicant may not build closer than 3 feet from the property line. And if we maintain that 7-foot setback, then he really is only probably 80 feet or 90 feet over what would be allowable by code for ground coverage. And I think we could live with that, because that was basically from a previous variance. So it's kind of a pre-existing condition to this application. So I could see, but I caution you, because that's part of my job, is the precedent that you're setting is gonna be something that you'll have to hold to going forward to. So,
and
but yes, I could live with that kind of a stipulation.
Yeah, but I think, Drew, if you wanted to, you know, amend your
Yeah.
motion to, you know, recognize, I think that, you know, just for you guys, I know it's not what you would like, but, you know, as Barry said, we have just set that 45% guideline, and as soon as we start making variances to that, then that becomes a precedent for everybody in the community. I do think that there's a good justification here in that what you would end up with will be a net gain that's better than what you have now in terms of the usage of that alley. And so that's where I think if somebody came to us later and say, why did you make a variance that allowed them to go 80 feet over what's allowed, we'd be able to point to that and say, because it was a benefit to that alley. So that's why I think we're comfortable. So I know it's not exactly what you would like, but that is something that we can approve that doesn't put us behind the 8 ball for future decisions.
So I would entertain a motion then.
I would amend my motion and, with the conditions that he be 7 feet back setback and does not need to sign a waiver, to approve the variance.
Okay, do I have a second to that
And
motion?
that he would state
I'm sorry.
the law, just the rest of various conditions.
Okay, so do I have a second to that motion?
I would second that.
Okay, second by Mr. Ray. Need a roll call vote? We're done with discussion, we need a roll call vote.
Okay, Smith,
Aye.
Weinrice,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Commissioner Robish is absent, Mayor Harrington.
Aye. That passed.
With the two, so that's up to you to decide how you want to move forward, but
Keep working with Barry on that, so you don't get sideways.
Yep, we'll just wanna make sure we see that ahead of time when you go to stake all that out. I'm gonna keep a copy for the record in my office.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay, we're coming out of. The Board of Adjustments adjourns to reconvene the City Commission. Public forum. Public comments may be sent during a live meeting broadcast to the city's YouTube channel. This link is listed on the city's website at www.huronst.com/citygovernment. In order to use the YouTube chat feature, please create an account with your YouTube and Gmail as you use your existing accounts. Please state your name and address for the record. Public forum is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes per person. And we do have our HR director, Nathan Hofer, is on the website looking at questions that may come in. We take them from there. So with that, I know we have one person here for a public forum. Please come up and state your name and address, and we'll give you 3 minutes.
Stan Philippi, 485 Wisconsin Avenue Northwest. And I had a nice visit with our mayor this morning, and I told him I wasn't gonna ask these questions, but I wanna ask a couple questions before I get to why I came down here. Other than Nathan back there, I would like a show of hands of how many of you people fish. Nobody? Oh, there we got one. Okay, how many have fished at the Jim River, or have you fished down in this area, 3rd Street? Okay, how do I state this? How many people here know what's going on down there at 3rd Street?
We're paying the bills.
Pardon?
We're paying the bills. We know what's going on down there.
How many, yeah, but I want a show of hands, how many really know what they're doing down there? Other than Dennis, because he's ramrodding it. How many of you have got out and walked around the area
What?
to see what they're doing with the rocks and all that? Has anybody here done that?
Just there.
sure.
Have you done any research on it?
We're paying the bills.
I know, I understand that, but a lot of them don't go into depth on it. Okay, anyway, I don't know what you people tell your people when they call you, but there's an incident that happened this week in the nation that you should really take advantage of. Has anybody seen this news from North Carolina? Eden, North Carolina. Write that down on your notepads. Really, I'm serious. Write this down, put a note somewhere on there. And when you go home, I want you to pull that up on Google. Because this is what you can tell your people, and this is what you can show your people when they call you. Wednesday, this past Wednesday, what's today, Monday? Yeah, okay, past Wednesday, in the evening, did you read this, Dennis? Did you see that?
I saw it.
See that? This last Wednesday, a family, which included family members and some relatives, went tubing on a river in Eden, North Carolina. You've got to look this up, guys. I really do. I'm serious. With 9 of them. They tied their tubes together. They did this in the evening, probably, I think it was, there's so many conflicting starts, but anyway, it was 6:30 to 8:30 in the evening. And this dam where they went in the evening, they went over a dam. The dam happened at that time because of the water levels, 8-foot drop. But it's a low head dam. All 9 of them went over the dam. So far, they have 4 dead. Rescued 3, 1 is still missing. They found 1 yesterday, the other 3 they found on Thursday. Those people that went over the dam got trapped in the back current for 19 hours. 19 hours. 4 of them survived it. They pulled those 4 out. And they're still looking for a 37-year-old woman, a 33-year-old woman, I think it is. They found a 7-year-old boy yesterday. But it's, you guys gotta use this for your people and show them why we're doing what we're doing down there. I mean, it's sad to use that situation, but man, that shows everything. There are so many news articles on that. There'll be more pictures as time goes, but geez, just tell those people to go. Did you check it out, Gary?
Yeah, I did. You know what I used? I used a sign down there on the dike where those 3 college kids had died. That's what I used.
Yeah.
And that's
But it
right
was-
on our dike. That's personal, because
Yeah.
that's the people I knew.
It
I
is
used
just-
that.
That's crazy though, and you guys you gotta look at that.
Yeah.
I'm serious, you really do, because it's sad to use a situation like that to explain to our people here, but they have no clue of what's going on down there. Olson's is done down there now, and it looks beautiful, and it's just now for the concrete and in the Parks Department, you know, to finish up, and that's gonna depend on Mother Nature and how busy everybody is. But the main reason I stopped here tonight is I wanted to thank the newspaper and the police people that are hiding back there, and Dennis especially, and the mayor and the rest of you that have helped me in my 2.5-year quest that isn't even done yet. Some of you probably don't know what I've been doing. Does anybody? Dennis does. I've been trying to document the building of the dam. So when it started, I went out and met with Olson's to get permission to go in their work areas when they first started the dam 2.5 years ago. And I said I didn't want to be in there when you're working. I want to have access before, after, dinner breaks, stuff like that. So I got carried away. My father's playground down there. But anyway, I have like 10,000 photos right now, probably 20, 30, 40 hours of video. That's here in history, that place. That was a center of everything when Huron was built. And you got to play that up, because that could be a nice place there, because they've done a good job. I've talked to a lot of fishermen down there. Matter of fact, the young kids that I've talked to in the last 2 days, they've all caught fish while I was standing there. Catfish, not the north, not the other stuff. They've got catfish in order while I'm standing there talking to them. One kid, young kid yesterday, I said, how do you like the rocks? He says, well, it's nice I can stand on this flat piece and not have to stand on that steep shoreline.
Sandy,
But I'd like to thank everybody, I really do.
appreciate that. Your 3 minutes is up.
Pardon?
Your 3 minutes.
Oh, really? But check that out, Eden, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Mayor, may I have a comment?
Thanks you guys for helping me.
Just a minute, Stan. Stan. Stan.
Just a couple quick comments on that dam, Eden, that was a low head dam.
It's
To what we had.
It's sponsored, it's built by there's a power company right there. I didn't look on the map. I think the power company must be north of it, because they said they found one body at Eden, one of the docks. It's used for their, called it an impoundment dam on one of those articles, for cooling water.
Right, but my point is, if I remember correctly, that was one of the dams that we looked at in the presentation of when we were
Oh, really?
looking at
Yeah, could've
redoing
been.
the whole thing, so.
It might have,
When you
it's
said
on the
Eden,
Dan,
North Carolina.
it's on the Dan River at Eden,
Yeah.
Eden, North Carolina.
So
I forget the name of the power
I just
company,
pulled up the article and it looks
Yeah.
pretty familiar to.
but that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's sad to use that situation, but can explain that to a lot of people.
All right, anybody else got anything for, public forum?
I do. Demolition of the Wyoming water tower is again Wednesday morning. Should be done by Wednesday evening, so just want everyone to be aware that we'll start and go.
I guess I can check that off my public forum.
I know where it was supposed to fit, so.
It's supposedly gonna start at 7 o'clock Wednesday morning,
Yep.
and they'll be done on Wednesday, so if you haven't ever seen it, and I haven't, so I'm gonna go out and watch some, stop over and take a look at it, they're quite interesting how they do it, so. All right, anything else from public forum? All right, seeing none, we're gonna move on, to the consent agenda. Matters appearing on the consent agenda are expected to be non-controversial and will be acted upon by the commission at one time without discussion. Unless a member of the commission requests an opportunity to address any given item, items removed from the consent agenda will be discussed at the beginning of the formal meeting. We'll move on. 6.1, minutes of June 14th, 2021. City Commission. 6.2, fuel quotes for city departments. 6.3, raffle. Huron Elks number 444, beginning July 7th, 2021, at the Sportsman's Bar, renew annually. 6.4, alcoholic beverages consumption in public areas. Kibble equipment on July 15th, 2021, for company of gathering at Glide and Slide Prospect Park. 6.5, personal items. Terminate Brian O'Neill as Splash Central lifeguard. 2, recommend hiring Eugene Draggett for Broadland Creek Pro Shop. And 3, wage correction for Macy Klein. 6.6, payment of the bills. Need a roll call vote to,
I'll make a motion to approve it.
motion to approve by Commissioner Weinrich. Need a
Second.
second by Commissioner Bragg. Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinriss.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. Petitions and communications. 8.1, Dennis, you got this one.
All right, this is for an easement on the Vantage Park Business Park area. It's kind of odd because we're asking for an easement, the city to give ourselves an easement, but we need this easement because going forward, this lot will be sold to someone down the line, and that easement needs to be in place when that sale happens, so. Asking permission of the mayor sign it and file this easement.
Okay. A motion to approve.
Move to approve the easement.
Commissioner Smith, move to approve. Need a second.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Weinrich. Okay, any discussion on this? We all know where we're at on that. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Smith.
Aye.
Weinriss.
Aye.
Bragg.
Aye.
Mayor Harrington.
Aye. 8.2, Barry, this is yours.
Yep, home occupation permits that were approved by the city commission, by the hearing examiner, excuse me. The building inspector has gone out and done all of the visual inspections, and with that, the hearing examiner recommended approval.
Motion to approve this one.
Move to approve?
Move to move, Commissioner Weinrich, need a second.
Second.
Commissioner Bragg, any discussion on this item?
Mayor, if I may,
Yes, Commissioner Smith.
there is one comment on here on one of the businesses, is that, are those repairs that are needed for that business?
That'd be good.
Those, I think what those were outside, because part of the deal with his business is that he can't have, a lot of junk and scrap and laying around the outside from his business, from that location. And so, yes, I believe that's all been cleaned up now, and because Chris did actually recommend approval.
So at the
that-
time,
they were
at the
just-
time it was outside and
Mhm.
he complied with getting
Right.
it cleaned up. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Wainwright,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington,
Aye. 9.1, City Attorney Tucker Valesky, please read 9.1 for us.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. 9.1, second reading of ordinance number 2224, temporary ordinance regarding the issuance of local medical cannabis establishment permits and/or licenses.
Okay. Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Need a second.
Second.
Commissioner Smith. Seeing no discussion on this, we'll have a roll call vote, please.
Smith,
Aye.
Wainwright,
Aye.
Bragg,
Aye.
Mayor Harrington,
Aye. Okay.